Willie the Widget Welder welded widgets wonderfully at Worldwide Widget Incorporated's headquarters assembly line in western Winnipeg. And he loved it. He stood there with his little welding stick as they went by on the assembly line, and he was having so much fun, and he had a big smile on his face because, you see, Willie was the happiest widget welder in the whole wide world. And then one day, as he was welding widgets happily, all of a sudden something happened that he'd never seen in 30 years that he'd spent at Worldwide Widget. A widget came down the line, like widgets had been coming down that line every minute of every hour of every day of every month of every year for 30 goddamn years. And this widget came along, and it was already welded.
Oh!
And it was welded well. And Willie didn't even get to experience that crackling frying egg sound and that blue-white glow and that carcinogenic smell. It just came along and it was welded, and then another one came and it was welded too, and he didn't know what the hell to do, and he had to admit that the welds were as straight and beautiful as even he himself could do. And then another one came along and it was welded too, and he just stood there because he had nothing to do. And then he looked to his right up the assembly line about 30 feet and he saw something entirely new. The robot was over 10 feet tall and as wide as 2 frigid airs. And emblazoned across its chest was its name, written in that 70s sci-fi font that they used at the beginning of Buck Rogers in the 25th century, starring Gil Gerard. Its name was Weldomatic 2000. And it had a pair of huge hydraulic arms with built-in welding stingers at the ends with Gatling gun style automatic replacement, rapid replacement welding rod attachments. I just made that up. And he stood there not knowing what to do. And the robot turned his bucket-like head towards him, and as it gazed upon him with its glowing red evil eyes, it laughed a maniacal mechanical laugh that sounded like a stack of rusty harmonicas being ripped in two. And Willie just stood there not knowing what to do when he felt a hand on his shoulder, and he turned around to see a team of beaming-faced managers in their white smocks and their hard hats. And as one manager pumped his head out vigorously, another one pinned a plastic medal to his chest, an admittedly small token of their appreciation for his 30 years of undying service at Worldwide Widget Inc. And then, after another manager stuffed into the breast pocket of his coveralls his final paycheck, which included no severance whatsoever, they had security escort him to the parking lot. And what did he do? Why, he did what he always did. He drove home and he ate his supper and he went to bed. And the next morning he got up and he went to work. But he brought something that he never normally brought, you see. He brought a pair of fully loaded AK-47 automatic rifles. And after he shot the security guard at the front door, he walked in and started to systematically shoot his co-workers. And he shot them all until he could find no more. And then he sat down on the floor. And he turned the muzzle into his mouth, and he pulled his thumb on the trigger, and he imagined one last time that he could see that blue-white glow and smell that carcinogenic smell, and he didn't care if he was going to hell, and he pulled that trigger, and as that bullet seared through his brain, he slumped over onto the factory floor, because after all, Worldwide Widget Inc. did not need Willie the Widget Welder anymore.